In Japanese, romantically speaking, this might be the most important thing you can say, or certainly one of the most important words that you should learn. Minna konnichiwa. This is Gogen Languages. Suki, which is often translated more naturally as I like, is a na adjective. There are various incarnations of suki, such as suki desu, suki, daisuki, suki da, suki da yo. In this video, we'll be referring to suki as it is used with people. Even though it can be used with activities, food, and many other things, our focus is on using it with other human beings. Although suki is translated as like, and even sometimes as love, its meaning in interpersonal relationships fits neither of these English words exactly. Suki falls somewhere between like and love in its potency. I like you in English may come off a bit like a schoolboy's expression, but I love you is so far beyond that, it's too strong. A compromise in English might be I like you or I really like you, said with emotional gravity. However, in longer-term, more serious relationships, or in familial relationships, variations of suki, or perhaps more commonly daisuki, may cover the same ground as I love you. Variations of suki are often said between children and parents in Japanese in much the same way that children and parents say I love you in English. So let's start with suki versus suki desu. And by the way, the exact delivery of these constructions will, as always, depend on the personality of the person saying it and the context.
好きです。付き合ってください。
よろしくお願いします。This is the formal 好きです that comes during the 告白. It's said more formally with this for several reasons. First of which is that it is already a cultural script, a highly ritualized act in Japanese society involving strong shared cultural understanding that this is the proper or expected phrasing. But even if it is ritualized, why did it end up this way? The des, known in linguistics as a copula, is polite or formal, which gives this usage of suki the feeling of respect, politeness, sincerity, and gravity when contrasted with suki alone. Suki. This barren suki, with no other words or particles around it, is something you're more likely to hear in fictional settings. Variations of it like daisuki, suki da yo, are what you'll commonly hear between romantic partners, as well as close family and even friends of the same sex. Opposite-sex friends can use it, but it is quite risky because if your delivery and personality are not clearly showing non-romantic interest, this could be misinterpreted, and even then you may be judged for saying it. A component of this barren suki, more often seen in fiction or television depending on the delivery, is a sudden burst of emotion. This usage of suki may be seen through the lens of linguistics as an exclamatory expression, an emotive one-word sentence like samui or sugoi. Let's talk about another incarnation of suki, daisuki. This is more realistic and common in real Japanese life amongst both romantic partners and family members. Let's take a look at the previous scene, which is a more anime-ish version, and see the more realistic version of that. Daisuki! But this is still personality dependent. More expressive women are more likely to say something like this. However, in interpersonal relationships, daisuki and variations thereof are a more common form of use of suki. Another realistic example would be the following. 本当にありがとう嬉しい大好き This is a normal context for using something like daisuki, an expression of affection for your partner. The next one is again something you might hear more in anime and television shows. 好きだ! Adding the copula da without anything else makes this feel more direct, masculine, even a little bit blunt. It can also be perceived as youthful and energetic. You'll see this expression used by specific character types in Japanese drama, anime, and fiction. In anime, for example, you might see a naive, inexperienced high school boy use this to express his feelings for a girl. If it were used by a girl, it would communicate some sort of tomboyishness, context depending. ねえねえ、私のこと好き？
好きだよ。
本当に好き？
好きだよ。
本当の本当に好き？好
きだよ。
Although not always the case, 好きだよ will often be a rebuttal or affirmation of sorts. In this example, the boyfriend is affirming that he likes his girlfriend. But we could also imagine someone saying a full rebuttal in response to, "You don't like me, do you?" 私のこと好きじゃないでしょ? I do like you. 好きだよ。大好きだよ. There is a sort of simultaneous softening and emphasizing component for having the だよ here. And contextually, as in these examples, it is serving as an affirmation or rebuttal to the girlfriend, which can be in and of itself a more intensified kind of response. In conclusion, there are many variations of 好き, with the nuance of meaning depending greatly on context and delivery. 好きです。好き。大好き。好きだ。好きだよ. How many can you use correctly?